Hi, Heather. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome to Cast and Connect, which is
Happy to be here.
which is perfect for what we both love to do, which is fly fishing, especially.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we've both used it in our careers as a strong form of connection as well.
Yes. Absolutely.
Good name for your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been super fun. We've been interviewing quite a few people, mostly gals, actually, that are in the industry right now. We have a couple of guys coming up that we're going to talk to, but they're also in the fly fishing or fishing industry, so that's been cool. Uh, so you want to introduce yourself for people that don't know you and
My name is Heather Harkavy. I am the executive director with my favorite little organization ever called Fish for Change. And we take high school and college students on international fly fishing trips that are all built off of building connection with the younger generation of fly anglers, but then also really leaning into fishing being this platform for all this positive change. So we take our fishing camps and we turn them into this positive platform where students are working with both environmental initiatives as well as building this really deep and beautiful cultural exchange and immersion in our programs. And I've just been having the time of my life the past 8 years, building and creating it. And we've got this exceptional student body around the globe, which brings me so much joy. And I would say the best way to describe myself at this point in my life is an extension of Fish for Change. It's so deeply infiltrated in everything I love to do and my people.
I know, I think the first time we met was either the Denver show when you first started, and then Edison also.
Mhm.
So we were doing all the show circuits and
Yeah. We were talking about that in Denver this year. It's so funny because it's been 8 years now. So started it in the nonprofit space at 22. Now I'm 30. So much has changed in the past 8 years. And 22-year-old me ran into Linda in the airport and was like, "Hey, I don't have a way to get there, a place to stay, or anything. I just graduated college. Can you give me a ride?" Yeah, appreciated that gesture ever since.
oh,
So,
absolutely. Well, I think it was a stormy day, and it was way more fun to have somebody riding with me, talking to me, and keeping my mind off the highway. And that's cool. So tell everybody about Fish for Change. And I know that I think you have a girl. Is your girls trip full already, or are you still trying to fill it? Or
it's comfortably full. We've got 8, but we've always got room for more. Yeah, because I actually reached out to you about that. So much has happened in the past month since I've seen you. We run programs where 40% of our students join us under scholarship. Of those kids, half of them are applying from wherever they want around the globe, and then half of them are applying from the country that we're in. And so our local scholarship initiatives kind of built out to train that next generation of guides, create this natural ambassadorship program, and it just creates this very organic cultural exchange naturally in our programs. And then the other 20% is kids that are coming that otherwise wouldn't. And so, kind of what I'm in the middle of right now in my updates for you from this past month, our Fish for Change scholarship process went viral. I just finished putting the stats together. We had 70 students apply last week from 22 states and 12 countries to join Fish for Change.
oh,
So
cool.
I have been in a me and this laptop screen have been freaking locked in for the past few weeks. But every part of the application, they send in a cover letter, answer a few questions, and a 1 minute video. And then from there, we jump into interviews. So I interviewed over 40 kids just last week.
Wow. Holy,
Oh, yeah. And it was insane. And they showed up with so many different accents and backgrounds and hometowns and relationships with fishing. Most of them, it was their first time ever doing an interview. So I say, like, even if they don't get it, they still just have this massive learning experience and growth experience going through the process of trying to get it. And what I'm working on this week now is I actually just sent out a few emails, is sending out acceptance and denial emails. One of those emails I like to send out more than the other. It's been a fun week of celebrating and then also my heart shattering. So
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. And then specifically, we run our programs in Honduras, Bahamas, Mexico, and Costa Rica. They're all 7 days long. And usually we're spending 6 hours a day fishing. And then after fishing, we're either teaming up with a local environmental group and we'll do conservation projects. But each location is completely different. Each location needs different things, but that varies from planting mangroves to fragmenting coral and building out reef to diving and shooting lionfish because they're invasive, to setting up game cams for jaguars and doing surveys of their populations, to taking fin clippings off the permit we catch to send in to BTT for their genealogy studies. So there's a very large range of conservation-based programming that we do. And I don't think that necessarily in our tiny, 10 weeks of summer programs, it's making this massive environmental difference. But what I think it really is doing, what I know it's doing, is it's holding space for these young minds to kind of tap into hands-on citizen science and relationships with the places we love. And it's just turning into that like classic snowball effect where they're going to pursue it in their career or some other respect in life. So that's kind of the conservation heavy piece of Fish for Change. And then the next piece would be the cultural exchange, which that's my all-time favorite part of Fish for Change. It's so powerful. Each place we go is a small village of under 1,000 people that we've spent a ton of time in, vetted, and have these really beautiful, long-standing relationships with. So the step one is just having community investment and involvement, right? And so having the 2 local scholarship kids is always, it opens up the door for this really powerful relationship.
Oh.
And then kind of outside your standard fishing lodge trip of just, fish hang, our goal is how do we see outside the 9 to 5 of the guides' lives? How do we become part of the 24/7? How do we dive in on this level where you leave and you're like, I have a family and a home there now. I understand what makes the clock tick. And I can put myself in this person's shoes and really have this deep understanding of life in a new space. And obviously, we just create a touch point in 7 days, but our goal and our way of doing that is through just as much community investment and involvement as possible. So we've got the local scholarships. We'll always start the week off with a sporting game of whatever the local sport is, because that's the perfect icebreaker. And the guides always participate, and all the staff at the lodge, so they all get it too. All the staff, it's their favorite month of the year, because imagine they've got 9 months of standard fishing guests, and then the lodge gets taken over by kids. The energy is contagious. Everyone feels the buzz. So soccer game to kick it off, and then we'll do a afternoon where students have to fill out a poster board of 100 questions they have about the village they're in, and then they break up into teams of 2, and they run around town for the afternoon, and they have to be little detectives and get a little more confident talking to strangers, a little more curious, asking the right questions. And now they're leaving, and they know what are the politics? What's the history? Where I'm getting my clean drinking water from? What's the import-export business? Who are our top players in this community? And it's insane. They usually end up finding the mayor by the time they leave. Truly. So it's just much a hands-on experiential education. And it makes, the mind a little more inquisitive, and it's super powerful. And then we do a scavenger hunt afternoon where they had to run around town and find the barber shop and get a haircut, go to the grocery store and try foods they've never tried before, go to a guide's house and make up TikTok dances with their kids, kind of just feeding off of their generation and what they want to do. It's super hands-on learning. And we'll have a bring your kid to work day. All the staff at the lodge, all their kids come out on the boats. So now the staff's kids, and that's not really a thing in the places we're going to. So to bring that tradition and make it a thing there, where now the staff's kids get to see what's mom and dad do for work. I've never shadowed them before, but now we're in a space where it's possible.
And it's good.
So we'll have 5-year-olds casting a flyer out on the boat with their dad, and it's adorable. And then we do dinners in town as well. That's one of my all-time favorites. And we do that later in the week once everyone's acclimated. But whichever guide you fished with, 2 nights each week, whichever guide you fished with that day, picks you up and you eat dinner at their home with their family. So,
Really?
so full-fledged cooking class, dinner with the fam, hanging out with the kids, seeing old photo albums, diving into the space. And you're leaving with just this really, we're so blessed to have these relationships where these communities are so open to taking this in that respect and recognize the privilege and opportunity it creates for all of us in our minds. And then I guess the grand finale would just be, it's experiential education. So I didn't realize I was an educator for like 3 years into doing this because it was too much fun for me to even realize it could possibly be education.
Right.
3 years in, I took an educator course, spiritual education course, and a light bulb went off. I was like, whoa, this is actually, I hate to say it, but 1 week of this is like more profound and monumental in these kids' lives than a whole year of school on behalf of education. It's just happening in such an unconventional way that it's sneaky. And so I think the biggest, the cycle of education, experiential education is reflection. I mean, you could only imagine, I mean, most of our weeks are teenage boys. We get our one amazing girls week each year, but you could only imagine the energy that's
Yeah.
happening, right? It's chaos in the most beautiful way possible. And so my favorite part is actually the 1 hour we spend every night at sunset where we sit in a circle. We've got our talking conch and we lead into just really engaging conversations of reflection upon the day. And I think a lot of parents would be really proud to see the fact that I'm sitting there with 10 teenage boys that cannot stop talking. They are so excited to engage, right? We go from dinner table night number one of like me sparking conversations to dinner table night number two of just like loud, exuberant. Everyone is so invested in what's happening. They have so much to say. And I could go on a rant forever about that, but every night we have different topics we dive into, whether it be perspective, curiosity, servant leadership, confidence. We have a career fair night. We dive into all the jobs you could have as an angler, because a lot of these kids want to pursue careers in fishing. And so there's so many layers to it. 7 days feels like a year. All the strangers from day one are family by day seven. The community is so sad when the energy leaves of all the kids just running ragged. And I think what's coming out of it is just this generation of students that one now have friends in fishing, which is so powerful. I never had that as a kid. I'm so excited they now do. Two, a new lens for like what travel means. And it doesn't necessarily mean this like luxury vacation, but instead this like intentional dive in of travel that's sparked through fishing. And I've watched it. I've been doing this 8 years. We've got kids that are like 25 now, full grown adults working in the industry. It's
That's so
insane.
awesome.
So
See what you
I'm excited.
did?
It's crazy. I cannot get over it. So that's my long-winded elevator pitch. Thanks for listening. That's Fish for Change.
Well, I love it. You know, there's a guide academy here in Alaska, which would be fun for you to meet them sometime,
Yeah.
but they do a similar thing for Alaska Native kids that are living in the communities and want to learn how to be guides or run lodges. And yeah, so yeah, very, very similar, just not as warm as the places that you go. But
Yeah, I would love a connection though, actually. That would be really
that'll be a really
interesting.
fun connection for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd love to do that for you. So I mean, you've got how many do you do 4 groups in a summer or
We're in your locations, we have 10 weeks.
we have 10 weeks?
Yeah. So this summer we're going to have like, I believe about 85 students join us in our
Wow.
program, which will be great. Very exciting. And this summer, actually, half of our kids are coming on scholarship. We had a great fundraising cycle and we had so many kids apply for scholarships. So we've got, and most of the kids coming on scholarship haven't seen the ocean or been on flights before.
No way.
Oh yeah. Talk about mind-blowing experience. Like
Oh,
it is
yeah.
insanely powerful. I'll send you, after this call, I'll send you the background on some of these students. Your heart will just melt. It's insane.
Or your video that you did too.
Which
Is it
reminds me.
recent one on was it on Fly Lords or one of the
Oh, the one I personally did outside of Fish for Change?
No, it was a Fish for Change one with all the kids in it, just kind of talking about
Okay.
the program. That was
Yeah, like our overall video. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great, that I always struggle telling our story because there's so much to it, right? Like I just gave you a 10-minute elevator pitch by accident. Like it is, and I barely even scratched the surface. Like I didn't even dive into stories of things that are happening. I just gave you like bullet points of how we make it happen. But that video is really good because no matter what people read, dive into the website, like they need that the visual and the energy that comes out of that, I think tells it well.
Absolutely. And so how did you go viral with it this one?
The power of social media. I don't think I've been doing good at the social media part of Fish for Change, because it's not really like been my style by any means. And this year I kind of just like took a deep breath and I was like, let's just do it. That is how you market these days. That is how you get the word out there. And that is how, with the tap of a fingertip, I can tell the whole world what I want to tell them. Rather than, I mean, the trade shows are so powerful in their own way too, but like one viral, I mean, we had a viral post that 500,000 people saw and tens of thousands of kids sent to each other. And like just that one post, every single kid I interviewed last week for scholarships, that's how they found out.
Great.
Yeah. So, and how's it not going to go viral when you say, are you a teenager interested in going on a free fishing trip?
Right.
Obviously, they're going to send that to a friend.
Right. I'm going.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really happy with how that worked out.
Well, it's such a life-changing experience for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to see in Denver some of the individuals that have been on some of your trips, and the excitement and the confidence that it creates, right, for them.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I think we all know it. Fishing, it's so powerful to have our passion. It's so powerful. And I think, and then it's also so powerful to share it with community from all over the place. So like for these kids to be able to just like celebrate their passion in life with now a community, create something in them. They have their thing. They're all writing their cover letters for college about it, and it's the top of their resume, and it's like it's their thing, and it feels good to have your thing. And so there's the students are, it's really cool actually. I interviewed a kid Monday. It's all blending together. Last week at some point, I interviewed a young man from Hungary who he came to Fish for Change last year, and quiet kid. In his interview, one word answers, really reserved, really quiet. I got off the call and I was like, all right, we obviously didn't have much to say, but because of that, I feel like this kid, like, this would be huge for him. He has yet to find his voice. He expressed that in the call. He'd yet to find his voice. He really wanted to come out of his shell, but hadn't been given the tools to do so. And I was like, this kid should come on scholarship. It'd be really cool for him to leave. He's never left his hometown, right? For him to leave Europe, for him to celebrate. And he got into fishing. And I've got this whole wave. You want to hear crazy?
Yeah.
These kids, because it's 2026, they were all little babies during COVID. This whole wave of kids coming right now got into fly fishing because they were like 8 to 11 years old during COVID, and they were learning about fly fishing through YouTube. And I've got this whole wave of like COVID fly fishing babies that learn through YouTube. It's so wild to think about. Yeah, it's crazy. So he was one of them. He came last summer. He talked more and more as the days progressed, and you could find him finding his voice a little more. He's super curious, definitely. Like he wanted to try everything. Like he was not, even though he was reserved, he was not resistant. He wanted to try every single thing. Flash forward, I interviewed him last week. He is on a scholarship doing an exchange program and living in Iowa that he applied for after the program because that was his first new experience, and he realized he just wants more new experiences in life. He led the conversation last week. I let him, I just responded to what he said. I was like, you, sir, this is wild. I cried on the call, of course. I cried every day last week interviewing these kids. And he was like, yeah, Fish for Change taught me how to use my voice. Like, here we are. Night and day. It was insane. So that was a really cool little last year to this year celebration.
You should be so proud of that. That's amazing.
It's really cool. I think like I love to do with all of our trip leaders on the first night. I like to do a meditation where everyone leans into their like teenage self, because we're so far away from it at this point where it's hard to remember that age of just like getting frustrated easily and the world being so small and little problems being so big, and like taking that moment to like really reflect back to when you were a teenager. Like it's hard to be a teenager for no reason.
Right.
Even if everything's perfect, it's still hard.
There's a lot of drama and your emotions are all over the place. And yeah. And I raised boys, which
lucky.
So fun. So fun.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Yeah. And like reflecting, in the teenage world, and then being able to kind of cater to that of life at that point.
And they don't talk a lot, at 15 or 16. It's one word answers.
Oh yeah, half my interviews last week, I was so impressed, and the other half, but on the other half, I was like trying to pull words.
Information out of them. Yeah.
And then there's the teenage girls. Oh my gosh, my little besties.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah. That's
They're
awesome.
the best.
You're
Um,
you're a great role model for them.
Thank you. It's kind of wild too. It's like I had so many great role models when I was their age, and now it's kind of like the torch is just slowly passing. And then you saw them like Ellen and Delaney at the Denver show. They're in college now, and I've known them both since they were little wee ones. And it's so cool because like they just run the booth at the show now, and then like a 14-year-old girl comes up, and the two of them are 6, 7 years older now, so they're like the big kid, and I just can't get over it. It's so cool.
So tell me, so you're kind of like me, where you started fishing with your dad and spent a lot of time with your dad. Talk a little bit about that, and then you have all these world records
Oh God.
for fishing.
Yeah, you did research. Woo. Yeah, so I grew up in South Florida. I grew up like an hour and a half north of Isla Morada. And so I grew up saltwater. It's funny because I live in Colorado now, and I'm trying to get into trout fishing. But yeah, my stomping grounds was all more inshore flats fishing, fly fishing with my dad. To this day, he's my best friend in the world. And it's really special. It's so cool to share this community and relationship with him. Like my mom gets jealous. She's like, "Why do you call your dad every day? Do you call me once every week or two?" I'm like, well, we just have so much to talk about. He's my intern. Fun fact: he's the Fish for Change intern, but it's like very low key. No one knows. Well, now everyone knows. But he's our silent intern behind the scenes. But yeah, I grew up fishing the cool thing with Florida is we have access to so much different water, right? We're offshore fishing, we're trolling, we're bottom fishing, we're kite fishing, we're diving, we're fly fishing, we're lobstering. Like there's so many things. And once again, teenage me had no idea how special it was because it was all I knew.
Right.
And then I left and now I reflect and I'm like, oh my gosh, pinch me. That is insane. Um, and my dad loved to travel and fish. I had the most special childhood. I was so grateful and so lucky for just like that access point, his mentorship. Um, and the cool thing though is that I was always kind of just missing one thing, which was I never had friends that liked to play outside. Like my
Right.
friends' passions were in
Yeah.
totally different categories of life. And so now I have a ton, good things to fish for change. But that was something I always craved. And I feel like there was such a strong foundation with fishing and travel with my dad as a kid. And I think Fish for Change has filled in the gaps of things I saw that were missing, which was I'm curious. I like to get to know people. I was going to fishing lodges and recognizing that people were just kind of there just to catch the fish and the extra layers weren't there. But I would always ditch the lodge. Like I was always missing. As a kid, like, that was what a blessing to be in that space. But then that was the classic thing of like, oh gosh, where's Heather? Oh, there she is on the beach trying to speak Spanish with all the kids, and they're all 8 years old together, right? Like I always missing. And so I think that was something I cared about so much. My dad has worked with Bonefish and Tarpon Trust for the past 30 years, so I always had that contribution coming from him there. And then the last piece was just missing friends and community. And so Fish for Change became this culmination of like all the things that were like I saw as missing pieces in childhood with all this amazing access. And then also, and I guess the last one too, just being fishing is a sport of privilege. Like how lucky are we to enjoy this space? And I want it to be more than that. I want it to be something that anyone that wants to be a part of it can be a part of it, but there's so many damn barriers to entry and this being one of the main ones. And so I'm so grateful that we're in a place now. We've got these amazing pool of donors and this funding. We're like, we don't have to say, no, you can't come because you can't afford it. Like, no, we've got options,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
And then
So
do the kids get fly rods and stuff too when they come, or just
the gear, they have like loaner gear that they
loaner
use
gear?
while
Yeah.
they have 50% off gear that they can
Yeah.
buy after. But that would be a good one to add to the collect. If I could get 50 rods donated for all these kids after, I wouldn't be mad about it. But
Go. Maybe will be listening to the podcast and like, I can help Heather.
so we'll see. Yeah. But I do have one really cool thing that's happening this
Oh,
week,
so
actually,
tell me.
that I think makes sense to share on this here podcast is in 2019, we had our very first Girls Week with Fish for Change. I was 23. The girls coming are high school and college age, so a bunch of the girls were in college. And so I was the leader, but the age gap was like 1 or 2 years. We all became really good friends, really, really good friends. And this is 7 years later. I'm today picking my best friend up from the airport that I met. She called the 1-800 Fish for Change number. um, in 2018, came to Girls Week. And because she's getting married to another Fish for Change alumni, they're 29 years old now. They're getting married this April, and her whole wedding party is the girls from Girls Week 2019.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, so I'm her maid of honor. I've been getting all the bits and pieces together, but this week we're all going to be together, and it's all the girls we all met in Guanaja, Honduras, the little ones in 2019, and now we're all coming back together. Well, we hang out a lot, but we're all over the place. But we're having a little reunion, and it's just so crazy because that's where it all came from.
that
It's a
is,
cool
that's
friendship.
amazing. See what an impact you made.
It's so special, and what an impact it's made on. Like, what? These are my best friends.
Yeah.
Gives me a paycheck and best friends. What?
Now, are you the only employee for Fish for Change?
The only full-time employee with Fish for Change.
Mhm.
We've got kind of the admin breakdown would be myself as executive director, and then our assistant director, Rebecca. She does everything with like legal and finances, which is great because my brain does not work that way. So she's my evil little sidekick there and saves the day. And then we've got currently I have one intern. Her name is Ellen, and she is kind of just my backup on everything admin and absolutely crushing it. I met her at the Denver Fly Show when she was 14, just crazy. She's 21 now, working with us. And then in each one of our locations, we have a program director. And so that is pretty much the owner of the operation. So they're not getting paid directly through Fish for Change, but they're filling up weeks of their operations in the summer. And then they're my right hand man on behalf of building out curriculum and programming. Our on the floor representative.
Do you send the kids homework ahead of time before they come?
I sure do.
Ooh.
Not so it's pretty much just like some reading on fishery location, nothing that's necessary. And then my big thing I tell them in advance is cast. I'm like, we're gonna have knot tying nights and fly tying nights. We're gonna learn how to read water and we're gonna learn about the clock on the boat. But what you're not gonna learn about in 7 days is how to cast a fly 50 feet into 15 knots of wind. So that's something that we're going to work. Welcome to Flat Fishing. Thanks for being here. So that's something that we actively work on every day, and all the guides kind of put on their educator lens on the boats each day as well. But it's up to them in advance to get dialed.
So, did your dad teach you how to cast then?
Mm-hmm. He did, yeah. But he's a lefty actually.
Oh,
And then something really cool. This is good for more female focused podcast. Is when I was maybe 9 or so, I went to Joan Wulff's fly fishing school
you did?
in the Catskills. Yeah, so that was like I would say the big casting practice learning environment was going there.
How was it to meet Joan Wulff? Did you get to meet her or no?
Oh yes, I was the youngest girl to ever go, I believe, at the time.
That's
So naturally, I think she thought I was adorable. I would think so. But yeah, had such a wonderful time. We built this beautiful relationship, and then Joan used to spend her winters in the Keys, and so every winter we would do our Keys fishing trip together from that point forward. Yeah, insane. That's another one of those ones I didn't realize how special it was till I grew up, and then I was like, what? The one and only Joan Wulff. So yeah, we fish the Keys together every winter. And I have I have some crazy photos of even my last time I fished with her was her last time ever saltwater fly fishing. She was 93 or 4 probably at the time. And picked her up in the morning. The dock was a floating dock, so it was a little wobbly. So my dad and I each kind of held her on one side, and we ended up going up into Flamingo. And that woman, she right 94, balance a little off, picks up a fly rod, dimes, doesn't miss a beat. Every cast, absolute perfection. And when I teach kids to cast, and they're always overpowering it.
right.
I always am like, all right, I watched 94-year-old Joan Wulff cast a fly rod 100 feet on target.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means that power doesn't matter.
Right.
What matters is technique. And her technique is so profound that she's able to make it happen. And she ended up catching this beautiful snook that day.
Oh,
Beautiful snook. And it was such a fun day. I could actually find the photo really quick. But
what a fun story.
Yeah, and so something I do now, which is so cool, is just every year when we have our girls' week and we bring all the girls together, I always will send Joan an email with all the photos from that experience and kind of update her on the fact that
Oh,
thank you for creating this for us to all be here now where it's so normal that I have so many amazing girlfriends that fly fish. Like, thank you. Like, you started that.
it's
You started.
this is women's, International Women's Month too, so this is perfect.
Uh-huh. It sure is. I just found the photo. Yeah. Look at this.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Wow.
Her little pink nose. Her
Oh,
little pink nose.
I love it, love it, love it. That's
So cute.
amazing. And those are good fighters.
Yeah. Yep. And she didn't miss a beat. I believe Joan is 99 now as well. Yeah. I think this October is when she hits her big 100, but I could be wrong on that stat. But it's so amazing. She was always she's so eloquent, and you can tell she has like a ballet background. Just the and we're from such different generations. Like she's she's just so classy and well spoken and determined and strong, but not aggressive, but strong, and has this like really sneaky but profound power behind her. And yeah, it's so cool. She started this all.
It's so fun to observe that, right? And
Yeah.
so you can see that and think about how people present themselves in different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's so generational too. You think about like I pitched this concept. I really wanted to do a film that had like a woman from every few generations represented, like Joan, and then Rachel Finn, and then Hillary Hutchinson, and then myself, and then one of the Fish for Change girls, and kind of just like everyone comes to the table. And it would be really cool to have like six of us from six different generations sitting next to each other and asking the same pool of questions because
Yes.
everyone would answer differently.
Yes.
Like Joan would say I was the only one. Myself in the middle would say I didn't have anyone until I did. And then these young girls would be like, why is this even a question?
Right.
And that would be kind of the voices of representation across generations and how things have changed.
Absolutely. And it's I was in trucking for many years and it's very similar.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, where I was actually I'm giving a talk this week or next week for Athena Women's Group, and there's 500 women and they want to know about my career and everything. And I think the one thing is just thinking about all the times that you're the only one out there. And yeah, you can have a big impact and teach women to have the confidence to do whatever they want, right? So
Where
that's
did you
super
find
exciting.
that from? What were your inspiration sources?
I think the big part of it is like with you is having a dad and a
Mm-hmm.
grandfather and people in my life growing up and my husband now even that they're very supportive of whatever you want to do,
Yeah.
right? And I think that makes a big difference for gals. And then I mean, we're all can be pretty confident in our own ways. It's just, but having that extra support to say, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. Who's stopping you, right? Go.
Did you leave trucking entirely when you founded Fishyware?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You made that shift completely.
Yeah. I did. I mean, I'd done that for 30 years or more than 30 years. And I could probably do it in my sleep, but I wanted to learn something more. And now I have this whole new group of friends and connections in the fishing side that I didn't have 10 years ago when we started. So, it's like having these conversations. It's so fun. So I have the luck of being able to have two fun careers that blend the things that I really love. I mean, I love trucking and transportation and I love fishing and the whole community around it, right? And so many gals that I've talked to, their dads really have close relationships with their dads, and their dads are the ones that got them started, right? And that is so fun. And like my dad was 90 and he and I were going to teach a class together, a casting class. And he's like, well, I'll sit back and watch. Well, that didn't last very long. And he,
This is how you do it.
right. And like you talk about Joan, just the most
Hmm.
beautiful cast and
Yeah.
so easy, right? And I'm like, wow. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's just so,
That is.
so pretty. And yeah, it's just, yeah, makes my heart. So,
That's so nice. Did you, so you're Alaska. Do you know where I'm bad at podcasts? Is because podcasts is, I feel like they're usually like asking one person
oh,
questions.
no,
And
no, it's a conversation.
I'm like, can I interview you back?
Sure.
May I take the honor and privilege? Did you grow up in Alaska?
No, Maine.
You were in Maine. Okay. And at what point did you move to Alaska?
Right out when I was in college, a lot of my friends were moving to Alaska to work. And it was an adventure, and there were a lot of jobs in Maine at the time. So honestly, I moved a week and a half after I graduated.
Did you think it would be forever or just a phase?
Well, everybody comes for, they're like, I'm coming for 2 years, and then they're here forever.
Yeah.
We went to Seattle for 10 years in between, when I was in trucking, and love that too. The Northwest is great. So yeah, but it's fun. But I had, like you, had an opportunity where I had a friend whose dad was the local bank president. And when we graduated from college, my grandfather was going to sign a loan for me to go to Alaska because my dad was going to do it, but then he had all these strings attached. And I was like, not going to have that. So, but then my grandfather got sick and he couldn't. So we ran into my friend and his dad at a rest stop going back to Northern Maine after college graduation that day. And his dad said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to get to Alaska, but I need a loan." And my grandfather was going to sign, and they all knew him because he was a teacher there. But anyhow, bank president said, "Come on in. I'll sign on that loan for you because you just went to college for 4 years. I know you'll pay it back." So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
How cool.
So that's how I
And then,
got my little my little loan to come to Alaska and get started. And yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you sold him. So we were worthy. And then fishy wear, what was this an idea you had for a long time before you started it? Or
For a couple of years. I moved to Alaska and I've got a pair of my dad's old long johns,
Mhm.
and clothing that, looks like you gathered it from all sorts of different places, to fish, and none of it fit. And so we used to take clients fishing a lot when I was in trucking, and I always made sure because I ran the trucking company the last few years before we sold, and so I always made sure I had a lot of women on the trip because 60% of women in Alaska have fishing licenses. So
What?
they like to fish up here. And
60% of Alaskan women have fishing licenses.
yes,
That's an amazing statistic.
isn't that cool? I know, I like to tell that story. And so we had a lot of conversations about what women wanted to wear and what they thought we could change. And so really that's how it started. And I knew nothing about manufacturing, so I just asked lots of questions and bought a book and
Figured it out.
figure it out. Yeah.
You're ready for your next challenge. So it was like
Yeah.
came up at the
Yeah.
right time.
Yes, absolutely. So, question for you. What's the most excited you've ever been fishing? And
Ooh.
was it a certain fish you caught or a place that you went or?
Hmm. Um, honest, I, I mean, I would say like the physical fish itself, probably. God, I don't know. So many are popping in my head. I went down to Los Locos in 2019, and it was before it kind of blew up, um, and I hadn't really seen many videos of the whole bait ball marlin thrashing through them.
Yeah.
And I was with George and Rudy, the owners of the operation, and we were all out on a panga, and we pull up on a bunch of frigates diving and sea lions going ballistic and bait thrashing and marlins just charging out of the water, and they're all like, "You're fishing first." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. There's no way." My body, I was having this doubt. This is my quick answer because it was the craziest my body's ever physically reacted to a fish before. Like, it was so out of my own mental control. No matter like how much I breathed through it, I just like could not stop shaking, and my stomach was trembling and my hands were freaking out. And they're like, "You fish first." I'm like, no, I cannot fish right now. Like someone else needs to fish first. I'm like, all right, then I guess no one's fishing for them. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll fish first. But I'm unwell. When I say leg shaking, I could barely get myself up onto the bow. Like I was having like visceral reaction. It was so unwell. I grab the 12 weight. I go to make a cast. I throw the rod in the water. I just chuck the rod in the water, because my hands were literally like this. Chuck the rod in the water.
No.
Fly line was on my feet, so pull it back in. We're good. Like, all right, and they're like, "Oh my God, Head, like it's okay." I got to do it again. I make another cast. I mean, it's like the fish were just like waiting to like they're all just going ballistic. They're all blackout in like food buffet rage. Make another cast, hook into a fish, clear my line. I am convulsing, shaking. Like my everything about me is not in a good set. My muscles are not on. They're off.
Yeah.
They're completely off. I'm unwell, and I'm wearing a bib. And my buddy Matt, I'm slipping and sliding. I'm like, I need to sit down. I can't support myself. And so Matt's holding me up by the back of my bib while this fish is running, and I'm about to embarrass myself, but I think it's very funny. Matt goes, "Why is my foot warm and wet?" Peed all over his feet. I didn't even realize I was doing it. I just full blown peed my pants. I was so ridiculously excited. 40 minutes later, I end up landing the fish, collapse. That was that is an easy answer actually about a story, because since I get really excited, like I have a very excitable personality, but like that was another level of just like I could not control myself at all, obviously.
I get the shakes on like that when I see really good water and I know there's fish, right? But I haven't had like full body shakes, but that
It was ridiculous. Like I still don't understand what happened. Like that was like it's still like an out of body experience. What's your story of your most absurd response to a fish experience?
one of my favorite and actually there's this guy that wrote this book, Catch of a Lifetime, Peter Kaminsky.
Okay.
Jen knew him and she'd send him my way. But anyhow, I told him the story about it was like July weekend, 19 or 20, and we're on the Naknek River, upriver, and there's not a lot of rainbows that time of the year. But all of a sudden there was this smolt, kind of like yours, all these smolt were breaking out in the water. And I was spey casting. And I was trying this new fly the guide had. And I just was casting out there, and all of a sudden it just slid right into all these smolt and then just burst with this beautiful big rainbow. And it was amazing. So it was just super, super fun. And he was helping my friend, and we were on all these big boulders, and we were trying not to fall. And yeah, we landed it, and it was great. But I
I'm
get,
trying not to fall.
yeah, try not to fall.
I actually I hooked up to a rainbow yesterday, and I did a little even fish, and I have really bad balance problems, and I did fall and lose the fish.
Did you?
I sure did. I was like scrambling, and I was like, I should have just tried to. I'm like, I should never. My balance is so bad. I should never try to physically get myself to the fish. I need to just stay planted and bring the fish to me, because the second I start putting energy in getting my feet closer to the fish, everything goes wrong, because it takes too much.
So,
Yeah,
well, that's awesome. Well, at least you didn't hurt yourself. Uh,
yeah, I'm good.
so tell me about what's coming up for Fish for Change, and where can people learn about you and all the great things you're doing, and
Yeah,
either donate or apply for
a good old call to action.
yeah.
So, um, our programs are gonna kick off this June. We'll have programs all through June, July, and a little bit of August. Each program will be 1 week with high school and college students. We have a few spots left, but barely, which is so fun, because myself last year was still fighting to fill all our spots. So I'm pretty excited that I can say that. Now, I mean, this year, half our kids are coming on scholarship. All those kids are about to, most of them see the ocean for the first time, jump in a plane for the first time. It's going to be the opportunity that steers and changes the direction of their life tenfold. That being said, we had a great fundraising cycle this year, but then so many kids applied we're giving scholarships to that now we don't have enough funds. It's crazy. I went from being so proud of what I fundraised to these applications coming in last week and being like, I need $30,000 more immediately. So if anyone would be interested in donating in order to put money into the future success of this next generation of philanthropic anglers that otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity, they can do so at our website. And that's the main thing we are raising money for, is directly back into creating these spaces for kids. And then they can apply on our website as well. We have a lot of fun on our social media, just telling the stories of students in fishing. And it's silly and engaging. And I think just it's refreshing to have a whole page filled with, feeds fishing. And you can also always shoot me an email. So our website is www.fishforchange.org. Emails info@fishforchange.org, and all of our socials Fish for Change. And that's with a full-blown FOR. I think what else? But yeah, the biggest ways to get involved truly are just either on the donor side, making these things happen, on the student side, joining the program. And I know everyone out there is connected to someone in that realm. And then also just, I think maybe if you heard my long beginning rant as to why we're doing what we're doing, like, you can do that too. Like, go on your next trip and challenge the status quo of your 7-day, 7-night fishing trip. Like, push the boundaries a little further, and people will probably receive it well. Like, I just got back actually on last Sunday. I host a father-daughter week every year down in Ishkalak, Mexico, and I just got back. I had a group of 5 dads and 5 daughters. And the dads the dads truly were harder to control than campers. They turned into infants. We played soccer on the first night against all of the guides at the lodge and their kids. And the dads, also, we're all in our 30s. So our dads are all in they're boomers. Like, they're at 60s, 70s. We're screaming at our dads, like, stop, you're going to hurt yourself. And the dads are like headbutting balls and doing front rolls. And we're like, please chill. Like, you're dainty. We're far from a hospital. Dads went crazy. And then on the last night, we had a knot tying competition with like 6 different knots. And dads versus daughters. And when it was a relay, when you finish a knot, the next person taps in and does their knot. And all the daughters, we had all of our knots dialed before we even got to Mexico. The dads all had like their clinch knot ready to go. And so it was so cute because the second they found out we were having this competition on Friday, every night after dinner, they'd sit at a table and they'd all practice knots together to try to get ready for it. And then guess what happened? They won the competition.
No way.
The dads won the knots, but we won the fishing tournament as the daughters, and we won the hermit crab race, and we won the chicken ship bingo. So overall, we were the champions, even though they won that leg of the journey. So the dads had to jump in the ocean in the dark and then do karaoke after. So it was silly. So silly. But moral of the story is that wasn't a Fish for Change week. That was just a fishing trip, but we pushed the bounds on your normal fishing trip. We dove and we shot lionfish one day. We had the guides over hanging out. We played soccer in town. It doesn't need to be the whole rubric, but just, yeah, fish with that intention.
Congratulations. That's so fun.
Thanks.
You're amazing. You are amazing.
It's so fun. I'm going to send you a follow-up with some of these students for you to check out.
Please.
And,
that'd be great.
And I'm going to send you a funny video from Father-Daughter Week last
week. I'd love it. Well, Heather, thank you. Thank you so much for being on with us.
Thank you for having me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to spend the rest of my day emailing 70 kids yes or no.
Well, just super excited they applied, right? That's awesome.
So excited. I want them to all be yeses. That was the hardest decision-making process of all of our lives. So, but
we'll help you. Have to help you raise more money.
Yeah, exactly. Do what we can do. I mean, we're giving away like almost 30, which is insane. So I'm excited. But thank you for having me. It was fun hanging out outside of a trade show with some focused time.
Thank you so much.
And thanks to everyone who's listening out there.
All right. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate it.
Of course. Bye.